What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Apex, the podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We got Hakis on the pod. It's exciting. It's great. We finally got our schedules to line up. EU's always been tough for us to get. I see all the comments out there saying, you guys only care about NA. You guys only bring on NA guests. What's wrong with you? It's
you
messed
guys
up.
Don't even talk about Alliance, the team that won.
You don't talk about Alliance, the team that you talked about for 15 minutes. You guys don't do any of that. Listen, I'm still a working man, and it's very hard to line those schedules up. In the future, we may try to do a different interview setting to get more EU guys on there, but I had 2 weeks off, so we were able to lock it down. It was awesome. Hakis' interview was great to get him finally on the pod, and we're excited for it because Alliance, everything's coming up Alliance. So we'll get to that interview in just a moment. Before we do that, boys, we got some Rostermania going on. We've got some stuff going down. The biggest story just happened probably 2 hours ago. DSG. I don't think they're leaving Apex fully, but they have dropped the roster of Design, QZer, and Enemy. That team obviously still has the final spot, the champ spot. So we'll see if another team decides to pick them up. As of right now, they are free agents. I don't know if DSG is going to fully leave, but it looks like they are mulling over their options, seeing if there's a team out there that they would like to go for or potentially drop out of Apex for the time being. But it's tough, man. It started off as one of the best stories in Apex overall, in ALGS overall. The disguise story, the dojo story, whatever you want to call it. And unfortunately, it comes to an end for now. But we'll see what happens in the future, and we're hoping the best for that roster. You guys got anything to say for DSG?
Yeah, it's a sad one. We talked about, well, like the team's still together, so the story's not over, but it's a sad one in the sense of like the org. Like, it's a cool org. I hope that they remain in Apex. Like you said, the tweet does say that DSG is potentially looking at all their options for champs and 2025. So that gives me hope. I believe they are a partnered org. So I would just hate, even though we have a lot of orgs in Apex right now actively, I would hate to see another partnered org, an org that Apex is giving money to, even if it's not a ton. Like, I don't know what the contracts stipulate, but I'm just saying, even if it's not a lot, the fact that Apex is giving the money to field rosters, if they end up not being a part of Apex anymore, it'd be kind of like, I'd kind of like hate to see that. Like, we'd have Optic and now them back out, and yeah, it would just I think it wouldn't look good. So hopefully they do pick up another roster. I mean, there's some prime teams on the market right now. There's Zainu Koi available. There's a possibility there. I don't know how DSG pays. I figure Zainu Koi are going to be looking for top dollar. And there's obviously some other orgs that could maybe come swoop in that aren't even in Apex right now. But there's that roster. There's a couple of good teams that could definitely be picked up.
And we got a decent amount of duos that are looking for one, and it's gonna be interesting to see. Like, I'm not sure what it's looking like. Bleed's got Lou on lock, but then when we look at the E8 side of things, we still don't know who their third is going to be looking at. Like, we've seen Zainu scrim with them a couple times. We've seen Sykes play with them in the last Boom tourney. So I don't believe LG was participating in that tourney. Could be wrong, but I don't believe they did. And so chances are, more than likely, that's just hey, need somebody to fill. Sykes was down to fill. Wasn't doing anything that night. But LG, they do not make finals, and that's a team that more than expects themselves to make finals every single time. And so is that bad of a performance something that would lead Sweet to wanting to make a change? Or is it just a little sub? Could have just been a sub.
I think it's a sub. I hope it's a sub. Like, third at EWC, I get they went 13 games. They started off slow, but they found the endurance to come third, and like did very well. And like Sykes is a hard player to like move up from now, unless he moves on his own. Like, I don't know how many people there are out there that you would replace with Sykes. I mean, even Falcons have technically done better with Sykes, right? So like, that's what I'm saying. Like Sykes is a hard team.
Sykes stonks, you could say, are pretty up.
Yeah, that man's like, his track record at LANs are top five, missing finals, top 5, top 5 missing finals. So next LAN is a top 5 finish for Sykes at this rate right now.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting offseason, and we're going to see probably a lot of movement. I got an idea for you guys for a team. What if we went Phony, Zainu, Koifel? What do you guys think? Because they're all free agents right now. We go under DSG, run it back. Let's see how it works. Potential?
Just change the DSG,
potential?
SSG, DSG, SSG.
I just don't see that happen. I was getting the vibe that they just. I was getting the vibe that was a team that like straight up just did not like each other, but they won.
Yeah. So after listening back to our Phony interview, and then I rewatched the celebration, there was some animosity there. There was something there for sure. But yeah, it's going to be weird, man. There's going to be a lot of different changes here, and there's obviously, like you guys said, lots of teams just looking for one. So we'll keep updated on all of that, as well as probably during this entire offseason, we're going to have to. We got like 4 months, boys. We're going to have to come up with some stuff, or have to come up with some segments in between. Going back and looking back at some of these
what do you mean?
You got BLGS.
We're just going to be talking about it.
I'm also not lying. I am competing in BLGS. Yeah,
Jumbo might be the next superstar.
You, Jayhawk, and who?
No, Jayhawk.
You're not playing with Jay?
Jay won't do it. Jay's not into it.
So,
Jay's not into it as deep as Jumbo is. Although I will say a team of me, Jumbo, Jayhawk might produce some of the greatest comms you've ever heard in just pure arguments. Like
you just get first rounded,
yeah, and there would be so many, and we would get one game where we just kind of went crazy, where we maybe got like 7th, and we'd be like, bro, and then we'd be trying to say whose fault it was that we ended up dying.
Yeah,
not
that would.
It would have been. Yeah, it would definitely.
That would so happen. That was so bad. No, it's. I'm not going to say anything until things are 100% official with who I'm competing with, because that's not 100% all laid out yet. But at the very least, yeah, I'm giving it a run. Like, I've never competed before. I've always thought it was fun. And like, am I gonna lie? No, I'm doing this for a YouTube video. Like, there's one YouTube video on my channel right now of me. Or I guess 2, but realistically, only one video of me actually playing the game and not like just doing the whole storylines or trying to break down comp and stuff like that. And it's my second most viewed video. And I think a perfect successor to that is trying to see what it takes to go pro. So yeah, I'm doing that. I think it's gonna be hella fun. It's gonna be a huge commitment, lots of hours, because we're gonna scrim. I need to bring my mechanics up. Aim assist nerf hit me. I'm the sole controller player on the team most likely. So I gotta put in some work here. But I have earnings, by the way, guys. If the viewers don't know this, I was in a tournament. It was like a little content creator tournament. But let me read off the names, because I went and I found the screenshot today. One sec. Hold on. Where is it? Where is?
Find that.
Look at this. Ready? These are the names of the tournament. No way it's that far up of the leaderboard. Okay. Well, apparently I lost this.
Oh, he doesn't
screenshot.
So you've played in one before, though.
Okay, here it's right here. I've played in it, but it's like it was a team deathmatch tournament, and there was a lot of players who weren't that great. So maybe I farmed them. But listen to the competition. We got Mamba, Gambit, Nano, Dumpling. Do you know Dumpling, Enoch? Dumpling's a pro. Yeah, Dumpling.
I know a guy named Dumpling Boy.
Maybe
something like that.
James Fearless. Not sure who Risky is. Hundreds. Right? That's the order of kills. Next, Jumba. Only non-pro in the top 8. Right? And I'm 1 kill behind Hundreds there. I had a game with, Nano was on my team. Game 1, Nano, 22 kills. Jumba, 24.
Oh.
I'm a shooter, guys.
Okay.
I'm a shooter. All right? Game 3, Nano 24, Jumba 23. Now game 2, Nano 30, Jumba 14. I fell off in game 2.
Fine.
Game 2 struggled.
We go on and off sometimes.
There is a clip somewhere. Actually, my VOD is probably gone, but I should have saved it. Mamba came into our Discord call and goes, "Who's the fucking Horizon?" This guy right here. So this was the Horizon right here. So,
but okay, so you have you played in a tournament where it's like a BR?
No.
Because I am kind of somewhat of a pro. I got 2 knocks, 1 kill.
Oh, in Apex Rising or what?
Yeah,
what is that?
No, it was the Apex Red tournament. No big deal. It was kind of gross, but Did get 1 kill, 2 knocks. Let me just give you a quick little pointer, if I may. Literally, every second matters. It blew my mind how fast you have to go. Yeah. Like, I've always been the fastest one on my team with my boys, who none of us are nowhere near this level. I should not have been in this tournament, by the way. I should not have been anywhere near this tournament. Every second matters. I landed. What's the place on Storm Point next to with the place with the fingers?
Launchpad or North Pad?
Yeah, Launchpad. So Launchpad. What's the Great place POI right next to it with like it's got the bridge over top of it? I don't know when
you can. What do you mean? Like let's Launchpad with the bridge over top of it.
No. Launchpad across from it, where the body of water goes into Cascades. Like the little dam. Yeah, we landed there. I was there for maybe 35 seconds trying to find a gun. I was getting shot at immediately from Launchpad. Launchpad. I was getting shot at immediately. It took that little amount of time for me to start getting, and they were hitting. I was like, what the hell is this? So when you're in there, every second matters. You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? Let me get my whiteboard. I'll be the coach.
You want to be the coach? You want to be the coach? Can you do some VOD review for us?
I'll do some VOD review. I'll watch some VODs. No, it's I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. The only thing that's going to suck is when you eventually win and you big time us. Like, that's going to hurt, I guess. But we'll see what happens.
Some are saying that Zapdos scrimming with other teams and TSM's looking for a new IGL again. I don't know. That's what they're saying. Rostermania, crazier things have happened.
Get the jump bag back there.
Crazier things have happened than TSM picking up a YouTuber that hasn't played the game in probably 5 or 6 months.
We love to see it. We'd love to see it. We got BLGS. We've got other than that, just Rostermania, BLGS. We'll be talking about that, and then we'll see what else we have as far as content goes. We might do some little stuff with Donnie and Connor. You know who's actually gross is Connor.
Connor had asked me and Jay, and I was considering asking Connor.
Connor's good.
And I was thinking about it. The problem is truthfully, we are going to be dedicating a lot of time to practice.
Yeah, he might.
I know Connor's got a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if he'd be able to the way, because especially for this video, we're looking to be scrimming 3-4 nights a week, and then I'm going to be grinding. I'm bad at the game. I didn't say this, but Wyatt and I were ranking the other day, and we were at Stormcatcher, and Wyatt jumps up on height, and he hits a guy for 190, or maybe it was 160, because I know I hit the guy for 20, just so I could see his health bar had 10 HP, and I missed every single shot. And then we were playing with one other buddy, and he literally goes, I won't talk about it. I won't say that I saw that, because he was spectating. And I was like, yeah. Don't worry, man. It was bad. It was, that happened multiple times. And it was bad. I was like, oh shit, I am washed. I need lots of time.
Would you get back into it?
For BLGS?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all on Saturdays. I could be wrong though.
Fuck.
It is, the first one is October 15th.
Bro, watching Enoch compete was electric, dude. Those were the days. I miss those days. Enoch popped off back-to-back wins once. Shit was gross. I miss those days. Okay,
dude, I was a CC outside of finals of Warrior.
Yep.
once I got in that finals lobby, never had a good day. But
well, that's the
never. I think the biggest thing I got is that there are talented players who have played in CC and not made finals. And I have never not qualified.
That's
so
crazy.
I might have had a dog shit. I have 18 and 20th in my finals placements, but I have never not qualified.
Yeah.
And nobody can take that.
Nobody.
I'm 2 for 2.
Nobody
Will there be
that.
a 3? Hell no. But I'm 2 for 2.
Yeah. We love to see it.
Good.
Love to see
That's the goal with this whole thing, though, is just make a finals. That is I don't think people realize how difficult that will be because no disrespect to Challenger Circuit, but Challenger Circuit doesn't have pro teams competing in it. This will have all the pro teams competing in it because they got 4 months of no competition and it's open registration. So yeah, like I can get in there with my fun squad, my content squad that we're trying to like run this down with. But at the same time, there is going to be Falcons. There's going to be, well, they're EMEA, but Alliance will be in there. Like there is going to be every single pro team also competing because it's not a small prize pool either. It's $100,000 split across 4 tournaments, or no, $400,000 split across 4 tournaments. I'm assuming 100K each. That's a good chunk of change, especially when you're not competing for 4 months. Like these guys don't get that type of tournament. Or is it $400,000 split across every region? You know what? Now that I think about it, it might be even less than I thought. But nonetheless,
it's still a chunk of change.
It's money.
It's still a chunk of change. Do you guys have a dedicated sub yet? Because I would like to apply. You did say I hit that guy 190.
Yeah, you hit that guy 190.
Yeah.
I also
okay. What if I'm a dedicated sub?
The game like before that, I also dropped like twice your damage. Like,
but what if though like what if I'm your sub? So like your one sub, you have your sub, but then you have like me, your sub.
Yeah, you could be the 3rd sub.
Third?
If all else fucking if all
can
else
I
fails.
Can I at least try can I work myself up to 2nd?
Well, first, I think we're going to get Connor. Second, I'd rather your 10-month daughter to probably play with us.
Okay, that's fair. That actually be great for a YouTube video.
She probably is better than that. Just kidding.
I mean, she crushes dirt. You know?
Yeah, she crushes dirt.
You want to talk about grit?
She was VOD reviewing with us last week for the phony interview. So she's already locked at a young age.
Yeah, she's locked. Okay, I'll take 3rd, but I just need the chance. I need the chance to try out for 2nd. I need to try
I'll put it this
to get
way.
up there.
If we desperately need a sub for scrims, you can join for the scrims.
All right, I'm in. All right, swag. That's awesome. You have a team name yet or no?
No. I haven't got.
People are like, please shut the fuck up and get to the Hakis interview. They're like, please get there.
Put chapters. Yeah, they could have skipped this already.
We start the Hakis chapter back here, so they just have to watch it. All right, well, ladies and gents,
Hakis.
Let's throw it on down to Hakis. It was an awesome time. It was great. Shout out to Hakis. I didn't realize how late it was over there. It was super late, so for him to stay up and to do this interview with us was awesome, and he was great, and it was a great time. So, without further ado, let's hit a quick ad and send it on down to Hakis. All right, here we are, ladies and gents, with a very, very special guest. First time on the show. It's been a long time in the making, and we are super excited to announce Hakis on the show. It's been an incredible journey for you. You've had a hell of a month. Let's just start off there. The last couple of weeks have been awesome. There's been so many great tournaments and some stuff we want to get to here in a little bit. But I kind of just wanted to start off by just saying, how are you doing and what's going on? How are you feeling?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling great. Like you said, we've had 2 very good LANs back to back. 1 EWC with the full squad. Got a top 3 in Mannheim with the sub. So overall feeling great. Right now we're just kind of vacation, a little bit downtime, waiting for what's next. Had the Boom TV tourney last night, 25K playing E-District for the first time in comp. So also got a top 3 there. So doing pretty well overall.
How did E-District feel? How did that?
I would say the end games were pretty good, but the early game, like there's 1 Evo Harvester per 3 POIs, so yeah. And then the loot overall is just very bad. So you feel like you're running around in poverty for like the entire early game until you actually like, I would say zone 3 when the bins spawn, that's where you're like, oh, now I can play the game.
Would you say it's like low-key old KC vibes? Loot
it's worse. It's worse than KC.
It's worse.
Yeah, it's worse than KC. There's literally, we landed Electro Dam, and I think the closest harvester, like we had both. What's it called? The high gun POI with 4 top buildings, and then we had Galleria, and then we had like the Heights or whatever. Like all 4 POIs around us had 0 harvesters, like not a single one, and that was like 3 out of 6 games. So it's pretty depressing.
Well, if the end games are good, I hope that maybe with time they update it. Maybe it can be the map finally. I don't know.
I mean, I think the map itself is really good. It's just the loot and like you feel like you're running around in poverty. Like you feel like you're running around Old King's Canyon with no loot.
Yeah.
Like the T-hump meme. That's basically it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
Love
said that, because there's a lot of people on Twitter who like to say that we're overreacting when we say there's literally no loot on that map. And I'm glad you point there's you just feel like the entire time you're running around like there's nothing here. I can't find anything. And I will say with other maps in the past, they were able to update the loot. So that should be an easy fix. Hopefully. Let's hope that they can do that. But I'm hoping it becomes the map of the future. You said the end games were really good though, right? I imagine it would be with all the different areas and all that kind of stuff.
No, I love the zone 4 to zone 5 to zone 6 was really good, because like the area where you fight in is really good, and then you have a lot of cover where you can play around. So like there's plays to be made because you have the like cover to make plays.
Sweet. Well, I wanted to first go through for some of the listeners who wouldn't understand if they're not familiar with who you are, but in case they're not, give them an overview. Hakis, you've been competing for a very long time. March, I think 23rd was the first thing recorded on Liquipedia for you in 2019. That's like less than a month of the game being out, essentially. You've been to every LAN since the Poland Invitational and made every final since the year 2 Split 2 playoffs in Sweden after we came back from COVID. Multiple first and second place finishes in EMEA Pro League. You've led Alliance to currently have the second most earnings in Apex for an org. And most of all, you're now a LAN champion, the first EWC LAN champion, as you were saying before, which congrats on that. The list can go on and on, and a Hall of Fame list of accomplishments here. So welcome to the show. And then,
Thank you
I don't know, totally. Like, I think we want to talk about the history, but Wyatt, did you want to take that away?
Yeah, I guess I kind of wanted to start off with just how you got into the game, gaming growing, like how you got into gaming growing up, and then how it transitioned into Apex and move on from there.
Basically, I was studying system science back in the day, and then I was watching a lot of Shroud playing PUBG. I played a lot of PUBG from the start, and then one day I saw Shroud on a new game, and I was like, "This looks fun." So I started playing day one when I saw Shroud playing, and I've been hooked ever since. I found a team pretty early on, Erbania Esports, who I got invited to Poland with. We also almost qualified for the X Games. It was a top 2 kill race. We got third or fourth, I don't remember, but we were very close. We were like 2 kills off qualing, which was very depressing. And then we got to Poland. We didn't really do great. I feel like we definitely had the chance to like do decent in Poland. We just couldn't find any POIs. Like we were just an unknown team, and we couldn't defend our spots for anything. So we ran around with like no armor half the games, which was depressing as fuck. But I joined Alliance about 4 or 5 months after Poland, and been farming ever since.
Yeah, Poland was a brutal format with like 3 game sets. Like I can't, one game and you're just like kind of chalked. But and then there's the other thing that was pretty crazy. Yeah, you joined January 2020 for Alliance online tournament number 2, and like you've been there ever since, and you won that tournament too. The funny thing is, but what I was curious to also know is because like you've been competing since the beginning. When I was looking into it a little bit, like you had won a tournament. We'll talk a little bit more about like your current stuff later, but like you'd won a tournament, I'm assuming a kill race tournament at the beginning for like $60 is what you won. Now you just won EWC for $600,000. Like looking back on that, like what does that feel like retroactively, looking back 5 years ago from where you started to where you're at today?
I mean, I like back in the day, like I said, I studied system science, but I was also working 3 jobs at the same time. So I was working as a postman, I was working at like a Circle K as a gas station clerk, and I was in the army as well. So back then, I just only had time for showing off for scrims. So us even like putting in time for attorney was pretty insane, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's like that's pretty humbling in general. Like 3 jobs, and like you said, the army, which again, I know a lot of dedicated viewers might know of.
Could you give us some insight on how that background? I mean, because I would say that you have a fairly different background than the majority of Apex pros. Can you get into a little bit of like what that experience was like, and then also how you took the things that you learned there and then applied that to how you approach Apex?
I mean, I would just say that I'm a very hard worker in general. Like even from the start, like if it's not in Apex, it's outside Apex. Like I just put in the hours required to like be the best. That's basically it. And of course, a little bit of talent on the side.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on the talent side of it a little bit too, because you said you started playing day one. When was it, like, how early did you realize you're like, okay, this game, it's fun, it's awesome, but I'm also just way better than everybody I go up against? Like, was it very early on that you were like, okay, I'm just way better than everybody? Or did it take some time to kind of get there?
I mean, you had these like public discords back in the day where you could just sign up for elite roles if you had like a KD above 6 or yada yada yada, and like my KD was up there, so I was like, maybe I'm alright. And then I like found a team, and then that team was pretty good compared to like the standards, and then we started playing scrims, and we did alright in scrims, and then you were fighting all these people that you've like been watching, thinking that, oh, these guys are pretty good, but I'm kind of keeping up with them, so maybe there's something there. But I think it was most like when I got invited to Poland, that was like, oh, this is getting real.
Yeah, I can't imagine like that early on. Especially like you said, like you're watching Shroud play PUBG, which those PUBG days were insane, and the next thing you know, you're being flown out to a LAN. And that's crazy. So many of those pros from like that early time, like I know the whole original Dark Zero roster, at least like Zero and Sharky met in an average damage per round Discord, and like that's how like they formed like their squad and where they've accomplished things today. Cool. So like we talked about, like, yeah, I've been with Alliance this whole time. We talked about that. I want to say you've experienced a lot of roster changes in that time, though, and you've managed to stay on top of Apex throughout. Like you had Vibes, you had Yuki, Effect now, Unlucky. What is it? Like you've kind of been like the one consistent person there this whole time. Like what do you think it is that you've done to help bring in these new members and like just stay at the top of the game?
I mean, like I said, I've just been working really hard from the start. Like I've just stayed consistent. Like I've never taken time off the game. I've always kept up my mental health. I've always kept up my physical health, and it's just like that's what you gotta do. Because a lot of people, they're only good in periods. Like you have some players that are really good for like 3-6 months, but then they lose passion or they lose interest, and then it goes really quick from you being great at the game to you being mid at the game. Like if you disappear for 2 months, you're at the bottom again. Like you need to start all over. So it's all about keeping up the consistency and just never breaking, just gas on the pedal all the way.
Yeah.
So what is like a typical day for you look like in order to really just get yourself in the position where you can approach the game like mentally healthy, physically healthy, and then end game healthy wise?
I mean, a normal day for me is usually I go to bed around 3-4 a.m. I wake up around 11 or 12, and then I immediately go for a walk with my dogs, like about an hour. Then I eat breakfast/lunch. I don't really eat breakfast, but it's most likely lunch combined. And then I just take care a little bit of chores at home. Start working around 2-ish, and then I stream for about 8 hours. I get off, I go to the gym, and then I come back home and I do some VOD reviews or just keep playing a little bit more or just do other things. So I just usually I walk my dogs for about an hour, stream, play for 8 hours, then go to the gym for an hour, and just eat pretty good between that.
That'll get the job done. All right, so I would say that like with your time in Apex, when you were as like a double MNK team, you were like without question one of the best IGLs in EU, and then all of a sudden you guys pick up, I believe it was Unlucky as the second roller, and then in like no time at all, you go from one of the best IGLs to EU to one of the best IGLs worldwide. How much of an impact has Unlucky made to your guys' team?
I mean, Hakis is a great player. Like he is one of the best controllers in the world and just spits out damage. Same as Effect. Like it's very easy to like have a play in your mind, but then it's like hard to execute the play clean enough to the point where you can do the next thing, right? Like a lot of times, even back in the day when we were triple MK, like we would win the fights, but the fights weren't clean enough to the point where we could continue to the next part, right? Like it's a huge difference in game if you like only have one guy that goes down versus nobody goes down. Like the amount of pressure that you can just keep up constantly when you're just outgunning everyone is insane. So
yeah, I think I remember an interview once before you guys even picked up Effect where you talked about how you had to be the one that would kind of be at the front of the line a lot of the times as the IGL, then Effect kind of came in, and like you could step back from that role. And like, don't get me wrong, I loved watching Yuki compete, and you guys had very good success with him, like a top 5 at LAN. But now with Unlucky, like, have you had to even move further back from that role to where like you have like just honestly arguably a top 3 scariest duo in Apex on the squad, like with Unlucky and Effect?
I mean, it's kind of the dynamic we made now. When like the first LAN we picked up Unlucky, he was kind of in a supportive role. Like we put him on Caustic, and he was kind of like he was playing kind of like Yuki, but a little bit more aggressive. But then for the next LAN, we kind of changed it up a little bit. We figured, we want the 2 rollers together, so I'll take a step back and I'll be the support instead. So that's kind of why we theory crafted Pathfinder, because I feel like Pathfinder is the perfect support in the game where you can actually help your teammates by following up with grapple or just controlling space in general. So, and it suits me perfect because I can actually like play my own self. I can like be a solo character, run around scouting or whatever, and still be useful as they just play as a duo. So,
and that movement.
I mean, now for this, yeah, true. But now also in the crypto meta, like it fits our team perfectly because I'm just gonna be in my drone anyway, and they just run around as a duo. So.
Yeah, and when you got one of those 2 on Pathfinder at that point, they have too much fun on that character, like even in ranked.
Yeah, in the last 2 tournaments alone, you guys have shown the entire world like you can use Pathfinder in a plethora of different ways. Just 2 tournaments back to back. You had one where the Pathfinder was in the back line, then you had this last one where Pathfinder was up front at all times, just battling everybody. And I think that goes to show like how you've been able to IGL over time. I think a lot of people would be interested to understand what it takes to become an IGL and how you even got thrust into that role. Because I think for a lot of times, it seems like IGLs could just kind of come out of nowhere and then they're just carrying teams to these different things. Was IGLing something you always wanted to do, or was it something you kind of just fell into based off of, how you played the game and where you were at the time?
I feel like I've always defaulted back to IGLing. Like I played a lot of games throughout the years, right? And even in Counter-Strike, League of Legends, I think League of Legends was the closest game where I almost went pro in, and I was basically a youngling shot caller. So almost every type of game I played, I've been some sort of IGL. So definitely defaulted back to it, and I just feel like game sense has always been my strength. Like at the start of Apex, I would say I was pretty weak mechanically compared to like the top players, but I still had my game sense to carry me, so it just fits the IGL role perfectly, to be honest.
Now, I feel like because it's such a common thing, I have to bring this up. At the LANs, up until these past 2, there was like the thing that happened where you guys made every single finals we talked about, but people kind of always deemed you guys as the group stage team. First, what I want to know is like, how did you guys feel about that name that was being thrown around? And when you had to keep showing up at those LANs, how did you do with the pressure when it got to finals? If there was pressure, or did you just kind of like block it out? Like what did that feel like?
I mean, we really didn't care. Like we knew it wasn't true because we had a top 5, we had a top 8, we had a top 9, and we made every single final. So it's like we literally only had 2 bad LANs, and that was the one we contested DSG and we got rolled. And then it was the one where we decided to not contest them because they made finals. And then we had to flex Dome, and then every single one went Climatizer. And rotating from Dome to Climatizer is almost impossible unless you're dropping a 30 bomb every game. So it was depressing rotations.
Yeah, no, those split 1 zones this year were absolutely insane. I don't know. I make claims like this all the time, but I don't know if we've seen a LAN where that many zones pulled to the like one side of the map that often. I don't think there was any south zones that entire final. They were
just bugged. It was boring, very boring.
Yeah, all LAN long. Well, the reason I asked that, unless did you guys have any more questions about kind of like his early history, is I was kind of wanting to get into EWC now.
No, yeah, I'm ready for EWC. I'm ready to hear this.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, obviously, congrats on winning one of the most entertaining but probably ruthless LANs there is. And I don't know, I kind of wanted to jump straight to Game 13. Take us through those last few moments. What was it feeling like? When did you guys kind of notice, like, we're winning this one?
I mean, I think it was when I made the call to push tree side because we were playing like the mountain on the UAV building, and I knew the entire time that we had to push tree to clear side. So we were kind of just waiting for that opportunity where it was the last squad alive, which was the 2R1C, I'm pretty sure. So as soon as we saw that opportunity to send them and we clean wiped them, that's when I saw we had the whole site for free. So at that point, I was pretty confident that we were going to take it home.
Yeah, so Tour Unsee, who I think is now blacklist, did you know that was them there, that they were the last squad that could have ended the tournament or like kept the tournament going and you guys needed to swing them, or was it just that's the play regardless, we need to make the play to win?
No, that's just a winning play. It didn't matter what team it was.
Yeah. Effect's swing on that play, have you guys seen it, is absolutely insane. Like he literally is b-hopping while not missing a single bullet with the Havoc.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. That's just Apex in a nutshell. And I think another thing that comes with EWC that is my favorite moment of all time, because I love these little side moments. There's obviously the gameplay. There's the b-hopping, like Jumba just said, but I love the moments where it's shut the fuck up and shoot. Like those are the moments that stand out to me. You're going in there and you're just like, hey, shut the fuck up. Let's shoot. I just wanted to go back to that moment. Was it annoyance that he was saying something about like, we're about to win this tournament? Or was it just like, you need to stay focused right now? Like really just lock in because we still have to win this fight.
I mean, I'm just not leaving anything up to chance. Like we're going to be 100% locked in to win this shit. Like there's not 1% chance that we're losing this. So that's basically it. Top 10 moment.
Yeah. It's one of my favorites.
No, it is so good. Like it's so funny. Like I somehow missed it. I think I was cheering too much. I was at EWC. I was up with the casters in their green room though, and then as soon as we saw the win, I was with Lace and we just sprinted down to the arena to go check out what was going on. We were all way too happy.
Yeah, it truly was one of the craziest tournaments. I still think for me it was like the top one of one because it obviously went on the longest, but for you guys, it wasn't like you were necessarily in position to win for a long time. It took a while. There was a buildup. And as you guys were going through, there was a little bit of struggle there. Was there any talk in between of like, we need to lock in, we need to focus more, or was it just kind of business as usual?
I mean, we started off really well. We were like top 4, top 5 throughout the entire, like the first 7 games or something. And then we got the 3 barometer zones back to back, which kind of killed our momentum quite a lot. Like barometer zones from edge is like almost impossible. Like you have to drop like a 20 bomb or you have to YOLO and evac and pray that you survive. And it's just not very fun to play. So, I mean, yeah. And then, of course, we had, like, on World's Edge, we had some throws where a little bit exhaustion, like just uncharacteristic mistakes that you just do when you're tired. So, yeah, we definitely lost a little bit of momentum there in, like, 5 games. But then we regained it in, like, game 11, game 12, game 13. So, it was a good comeback after we actually got to play the game.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was even curious about that game 12. Like, obviously, like we want to talk so much about the win, but you guys kind of looked like you were about to win in game 12. You were the 3-man team up until Twisted Minds pulls out that revive. And then, unfortunately, you guys lose the fight there when you were so close to winning. And then that kind of like was taken away. Like it was a North Pad zone and everything. What were you feeling in that moment? And then how do you bounce back to just take it in game 13?
Yeah, I mean, we were, like I said, just overall pretty tired. Our awareness weren't great. We were fighting DMS, who was a duo on our roof. So while that was happening, I think there was Falcons and LG. They fought on the right side. And we didn't see any trades in the kill feed. So when they actually wiped, it looked like they clean wiped. When we finished our fight and they finished their fight, it looked like it was a clean wipe. But there's only one guy up resting, and one guy got thirsted earlier. So if we were just a little bit more awake and paid attention to that, we would have known that they weren't a full squad. Which is what we thought at the moment. That's kind of why we let the Twisted Minds reset, because, you know, pushing Twisted Minds when there's a full squad on our right is kind of dumb. So yeah, we played a little bit too passive there because we didn't have the knowledge we needed. And then we should have still won the fight, but I guess we were all just a little bit split, not playing together. So it was very unfortunate. But I mean, that game, like, everybody was pissed and mad. So I feel like that, like, woke us up a lot because anger gives energy, I guess.
Yeah, like, again, like, not I think you guys didn't have Seer too, right? Like, you guys aren't running Seer, so where a lot of people probably could have scanned, got that info, couldn't get that there. And that's interesting because, yeah, without the comms, I know a lot of people have talked about that. I was even watching, I think, Privacy talk about, like, why didn't Alliance push them? But I guess now that you say it, you guys didn't even know there was trades, so that's pretty cool to find out about.
And I wanted to move on to the exhaustion part a little bit too, because as a watcher, I'm always like, I want more Apex. I always want to have more games. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. But I've never really thought about the exhaustion factor. Like when does it start to set in? And I would assume you're against moving the match point format from 50 points to 60 points at this rate then.
I mean, I don't really mind going to 60 points as long as you don't have any starting point. Or, usually I say like 50 points is good if you don't have any starting points, but you should have 60 points if you have starting points. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the last LAN now in Mannheim, like we got to game 9, which was really good without starting points. So I feel like that was fine. But I mean, obviously in EWC, like 60 points was good because we had starting points. Like we started on 10 points, right?
Yeah.
Or 9 points.
But the exhaustion, it doesn't really just set. It's more of just like an in between game type of thing.
I would say generally it is around game 7. It's like after the second long break where you have like the 15-minute one. That's usually when you get a little bit more tired and then you need to like get a snack or something to bring the energy up. But yeah, it's usually around 7, 8 or something, depending on how the games have been too. Like if you die early and you have shit games overall, then obviously you get more tired fast.
Well, not to mention, like, EWC started late. Started 6 p.m. that time, and, like, we finished at, I think it was 1 when you guys finally won. So,
yeah.
That's a long day. It's a long day there. I was also going to ask, so with that, though, on top of the exhaustion, so the EWC was a little bit different with this LCQ lobby, and that someone could go home on the first day. Now, obviously, you guys went in there and you won your set, 107 points in 10 games, but how are you kind of feeling just going into EWC, knowing that that format was a lot less forgiving than ALGS?
I mean, we were kind of chilling. Like, I usually say, like, group stages are the easiest thing because that's what we only practice. Like, I don't know. I feel like Apex has the dumbest practice routine I've ever seen in any type of game. Like, we only play group stages for 3 weeks straight and nothing else. Like, we don't practice the winners bracket. We don't practice losers bracket. We don't even practice finals. Like, there's literally nothing other than group stages that you spam over and over and over and over, and you just bang your head against the wall, and then you like, I don't know. I feel like we won enough scrims to the point where we're confident going into group stages that our game styles should work.
I find a lot of the EMEA pros want like different like bracket and match point final scrims, where I see a lot of the NA pros just like kind of just be like, no, let's just run what we're running, and that's ends up being what the decision is, just because it seems they have more pull.
Yeah, I have no clue generally. Like, I feel like the best system would be just doing mock LAN every single week. Like, you do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday group stages, and then Thursday brackets, and then Friday finals, and then you just repeat that every single week, because then you have incentive, you have motive. Like, you actually get people to try because they want to make the finals, because making the finals, you get to contest your own POIs, you get to take precedence where you want to go. Like, you actually get to figure out a game plan for the whole tournament and not just the first 50%, I guess. Like, the group stages is just, I don't know. It's so easy because that's only what you practice. Like, I don't know.
The incentive also is more practice. Like, if you don't make finals, you're not practicing for 2 days, essentially.
Yeah. That would be a good way to keep scrims a little bit more locked. Because yeah, that's a really good point. Actually makes no sense that they do it the way they do it. Like, when you talk about it, it's just like, why?
Yeah, I've never thought of it that way.
We need to talk to Tempo ASAP, because they need to get this shit.
I've been complaining for a long time, but like, I don't know. It's like people just don't agree. They feel like group stage is all we need to practice. Apparently, I don't know.
Did they do it for like that 10K? Like, they did a 20K and they had the match point final. Was there a winners bracket and groups or something like that, or did they just do group stages?
No, they just did group stages straight into winners.
Straight into winners.
Or straight into finals. I mean,
match point final. Yeah. They did a 20K, which, I mean, that was a step in the right direction. Just, I know them securing money is kind of difficult to always accomplish.
I mean, you don't even need to do it with money. You can just do like a mock LAN every single week just for practice. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. Yeah, but I mean, EWC was sick. What did you think about the event in general? Like, did you get to experience any of it outside of like obviously playing and winning? I mean, I'm sure that was a huge highlight.
I mean, we barely left. We went from the hotel to the mall to the venue, and the venue was, I mean, they built a whole city in like 5 months. It's crazy. Like it was
Yeah.
like it was like a mini Disney World just for gamers. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
So,
dude. I thought I saw the whole thing, but I realized there's about 60% of the grounds I did not see. So I don't know.
60?
Yeah. I stayed where like the players, like the arena was, and then I went to this one other section where the player lounge was, and then there was like a little other section where there was like a couple more buildings, and that's where I spent my time. And I didn't realize that there was a whole other like 4 sections that I did not go to. There was like an anime district, there's a Falcons district. There was so much stuff that I did not see, and I don't know how I missed it. So yeah,
they had a
about 60%.
racing simulator, anime
Yep,
district. They had a
I didn't
they
see any
had
of that
like
stuff.
what do you call it? Like
A VR like building, like there was like this whole huge VR game like you could play. I tried that out at least, but
and then the horror game like Freddy something. They had like a carousel.
Five Nights at Freddy's or something.
Didn't
Like
Five
even
Nights at
know.
Freddy.
I
had a
think they
massive
needed to
carousel.
they need to do a little bit of a better job like helping you understand what was there, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Maybe that was there. I don't know. I did a bad job.
What was it like crushing other people's trophies? Or
That's a great question. Yeah.
Did you
I
even
mean,
get to? Did you press the button, or did somebody else do it for you?
No, I pressed the button, but it was
Okay.
it was a little bit anticlimactic because you're like, oh, let's crush this trophy, and then it just bent a little bit. Like you didn't get to really crush it. So
The way they described it, I thought like the players were going to take like a sledgehammer to it, and I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And then it was just like this little machine just like kind of presses it in. I was like, damn. They really should have given Hakis a sledgehammer and let him just go to work. Like that's what I was hoping was going to happen. It just didn't happen that way.
But do you guys have the trophy now, or is it like with Alliance at the very least, where you guys can see that you have the crushed keys in the bottom of it, right? Like you have the 3 keys.
I'm pretty sure EWC still has it. I don't think we've gotten it yet.
You guys didn't even get it yet.
I don't think so. I have no clue.
To be fair, tournaments they take forever to get you your things after you've played in them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually like 3 months. That's usually the normal time, and it's been like what 2 almost.
About a month. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to give them some time.
Was it awkward or weird like doing all the walkout stuff, like doing, because they were basically following you from the stage all the way back to this long area, this whole room. You're like walking around. There's cameras all over the place. Was it a little weird?
I mean, I've gotten used to everything, so I don't really like. I don't really.
You don't even notice it.
Just been there, done that.
It's
Type
just
shit.
there.
Just another day at the office.
Yeah, I love it.
So, what are your thoughts on the recent change? Well, like somewhat recent change towards the POI draft, and how has that affected the way that you guys approach the game?
I mean, we have the advantage that we're like some POIs are contestable, right? And we have done that on Stormpoint where we contest Northpath Trident every single game. So our draft is always going to be good because we only have to draft 1 map, which is something that I don't like, but it does benefit us, so I don't mind it at the same time. But I mean, overall the system has been really good. Like I really like it. The only thing they need to do is just make POIs better. Like I don't think it should be that big of a difference, especially like on Stormpoint, because like I said, there's only 19 POIs, and the 20th team, like EXO in the finals, they had to land Lift, which is like a really bad no-name. So I feel like you should definitely add 20 playable POIs so that you can actually use for the map. That would make the game so much better. But I mean, the current system works, and it's been really good. It was enjoyable at LAN.
Well, yeah, like, you know, and I think even at Split 2, we'll get into this a little bit with the winners bracket, but like the Northpad Trident, you know, sometimes it works a lot in your guys' favor. A lot of people don't want to contest you guys, so they avoid it, right? But then there is just that potential that if someone does take Northpad, it kind of ruins Trident, or vice versa, right? So like, how have you felt about when you have to deal with those kind of contests?
I mean, we've done it like a couple times now, and like we bullied FA Kids in Pro League. Like we played some third-party tournaments where we bullied other teams, but I feel like we would have been fine in the winners bracket too if we just didn't get griefed by Checkpoint every single game. Like we didn't even get to play. Like Fnatic forced a fight on us, and we got thirded or fourthed every single time. Like we didn't even get to fight. 2 out of 3 games we were just hiding in the building, trying to like stabilize, because we knew we had 2 teams around us, and then Fnatic just full sends it and we all die. So I was just like, okay, there is no brain cells at all right now. This is what it is.
Yeah, I had missed the winners bracket, and you know, like you can have a bad set. Don't get me wrong, as a team, but like when I see Alliance only have 2 kills, it's like something's not adding up here. Alliance doesn't drop only 2 kills. That's not their team. Like I was so confused, and then after everyone explained to me 3 times because I couldn't understand that Fnatic was just kind of griefing every time, or at least contesting every time, and then the third party, obviously. So
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I don't know. Like, I'm fine with Fnatic fighting it. I would be down if we just had a straight 3v3, but it was just never a 3v3. Like, we just, like, M carriers from Checkpoint just negatively rotated and just shot us in the back over and over and over and over. So we're just playing with no space, just getting bullied from everywhere.
So I think from EWC we immediately move over into Mannheim, Germany, and you guys once again a great tournament, 3rd place. But I guess the question for me here is how do you feel about zip lines after this last tournament? Where are we at with zip lines after this last one?
Not a big fan. Not a fan.
fan.
Or more, I feel the pain of controller players, like not having different keybinds. It's kind of insane.
It was so unfortunate. I was listening to the comms back, and you can just hear you're just like, "What the fuck?" Like you hear the anger, just like, "What happened?" It was more annoyance than anger, but it was so frustrating. I really thought you guys were going to win that one right there, and then that happens. Can you walk through kind of what happened from your perspective on that play?
I mean, I was just more confused than anything because it literally took me 0.3 seconds and I was inside a team low ground. We sipped second part of Skyhook, and then Complexity pushed out. We wiped Complexity, and then Bleed comes to 3P. So I armor swap one of Complexity boxes, and our old zip line that is stuck to the ceiling, and I'm crouching looting a death box. I somehow attached to the zip line that is in the ceiling, and I'm crouching looking down. So the fact that I attached to it, I have no clue. I get sent straight into zone. I'm like, fine. I jump back on a zip line, do a 180. There's another zip line below this one that another team made, and I somehow attached to the low ground zip line instead of the high ground one. Get sent straight into SSG on the low ground. Almost make it around the corner. As I'm about to touch the zip line back up, I die to a random solo. Like, it was depressing.
Yeah, that's what I could not understand, because like we have Unlucky's POV on the VODs, and like the zip lines, the top one and the bottom one are so far that I'm like, there is no way that when he jumps and turns around, like how did he connect to the bottom zip line? I have not been able to figure that out. Was it literally just some sort of bug that it attached to that bottom one after? Like you had to be so far away.
Genuinely no clue. It all happened so fast. I literally randomly get sent. I instantly do 180, turn back, and I'm low ground. Like I was like,
yeah,
what the fuck? And then I just be up around the corner and died touching the zipline back up.
Yeah, and then it almost happened to Unlucky too. I was watching back the VOD, and he went to go loot the exact same box and attaches to the zip. But luckily, when he was lucky for Unlucky, he was able to jump on the map, the zip line, and get back.
Able to save himself. But I mean, even with that, it was still a great tournament. Like I said, you guys get 3rd place, and you did it with a sub. Kind of just, I mean, I think this kind of goes to your credit of how good of an IGL you've become and how you've been able to stabilize Alliance for so long. But you know, you bring in a sub here. This is not who you've been playing with. How did that entire situation go? How did you prepare for something like that?
I mean, about 2 weeks before the LAN, we got told that Effect's most likely not going to make it. Like, he got denied like 3 times the visa. And then after getting denied 3 times, he basically got told, oh, it's too late to apply now. You're screwed. So we were like, okay, let's find a sub. We reached out to a lot of people to see who was available and who could play or whatnot. We ended up going with Tyler because Tyler is like the most similar player to Effect. He plays the same character. He plays the same role. He also has previous synergy with Unlucky. They've been teaming together for like 2 years. So, yeah, I mean, I think that saved us a lot. Just Tyler having synergy with Unlucky from before, being like former teammates, because that just overall sped up the process of getting better together.
Had you ever competed with Tyler before?
No, I've never played with him.
Yeah, because it was like he came in and right away like was putting up crazy numbers, and it was awesome to see that a sub came in and just like really didn't stop or slow your roll at all. You guys were able to just keep going. Like, I think when I was looking at it, both him and Unlucky, if you were to look at like kills per game, were top 10 in the LAN, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, Tyler played amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely a crazy tournament to watch just from that perspective, seeing how well you guys were doing with the sub. We've seen it in the past, but it's always crazy when you see like somebody just kind of stepping in and being able to do it. Another crazy game that happened in this tournament was, I think it was game 3 or 4, late game right outside of Mirage with Game and Gladiators. Did you guys have any idea that Game and Gladiators was there? And they had a chance to just end the tournament right there?
It was game 5 when you guys won
game
in finals. 5? Yeah. It was the game you guys won in finals.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Unlucky called. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Unlucky called. I think GG is alive. And then we saw 2 Newcastle teams. So the problem was that NRG and GG were playing the same comp. So we couldn't figure out who was who. So we were just like, oh, we just need to win. Like, there's no other play. Like, we don't know who to grief. We just got to play for the win. There's nothing else.
Yeah, you dap up Unlucky after that, and I think it was one of the most aggressive daps I've ever seen. But I also think it's a tap. It was crazy. It just hits it as I tried to send it to you, Wyatt, but then we started the pod.
It was a championship celebration.
It's a championship level dap.
Yeah, we have a thing on here. We like to categorize certain celebrations after wins as championship celebration. I said to myself, championship celebration when I saw that, and look what happened. Championship.
Yeah, I mean, this tap was after the championship, but like clearly, like it just.
But it just shows championship lineage. It shows throughout that. A lot of teams haven't won the championship yet.
No, I mean, oh, go ahead, Wyatt.
No, I was just going to move on. That was one of the craziest games because none of us wanted it to end that early. So watching from home, that entire watching experience was like, please, Alliance, please just do it. And you guys were able to pull it off. And then the championship dap, which was awesome.
There was also another moment, real quick. If you're gonna move on, I would like the moment where you quick scoped a fucking crypto drone and then hit 2 players from Moist. You guys all dove on them and wiped Moist. It just sucked that there was a team that completely threw their game right after. I don't remember who it was, but someone literally jumped you guys and then died to zone for that play. But that was insane. Yeah, like we were losing our minds on the stream.
What, the double Kraber to the fadeaway nade? Yeah, no, that was gross.
Yeah, you guys I mean, congrats to SSG. I'm not going to say that they didn't deserve the win. Right. Like, like things fell in place for them and they definitely are a great team. But I think if you're alive in that last game, like you guys go back to back, cause Unlucky and Tyler go to 2v3, like one more squad. And then it was unfortunate. Like they didn't do it clean. If they had all 3 of you guys up, I think you guys clean wipe and that's probably your win. Cause even SSG was a duo. Sucks. But
I'm 90% sure we would have won if I was alive. It also fit like a 50% chance they could have still won if they clean wipe bleed inside. Unfortunately, Unlucky went down, and then Tyler had to rest, and then they didn't have time to scout anything.
Yeah.
So if they were both a little bit more healthy earlier, they probably could have won this duo as well, which would have been a 6 storyline.
It would have been because Zainu goes down, I think, and I think it would have been much more interesting of a fight.
Like a solo from E36 duo on the low ground, and they were pretty weak on the low ground too. So, yeah, I hope I'm not driving the knife deeper about the pain of the situation, but nonetheless, just an amazing month as Wyatt started the conversation today. Like you guys have absolutely crushed it, and it's cool to see you finally get your success after so long come your way.
And it was. Everything's coming up Alliance right now. It was awesome to watch you guys were able to battle through. I guess the one part of this entire tournament that I guess was different than EWC, other than the format and stuff like that, was just the meta. And the meta was drastically different. What do you think about this meta? And do you hope going into champs things are looking a little bit different?
I mean, we have 5 months to change the meta. I pray to God we actually get a change. Like, there's no way we stick to the same things for 5 months. I mean, the meta is really bad at the moment. I mean, I would say the meta is decent if you just remove crypto, but crypto and just Warlocks in general just lowers the skill ceilings, especially for IGLs, which is just really boring gameplay. I mean, outside of crypto, the gold bins needs to go, and then the UAVs being 100% spawn rate everywhere also needs to go, and then we have a pretty healthy game in my opinion.
Well, that's really interesting that, you bring all that up. We even talked about this with Phony last week, and I want to ask, from your perspective as the IGL, do you feel like crypto kind of even the playing ground? Where there was so much more guesswork, where the top IGLs knew what to do, knew the rotations, knew what buildings people would hold. Instead, there's just so much information that everyone has access where while you think it would make things more competitive, it actually adds randomness. Would you agree with that? And like because you said lowers the skill ceiling.
I mean, it's like everybody has perfect information, right? So it's all about you making the right decisions. But for like usually back in the day, like making the right decisions would be very hard because you need to actually scout for the information. Now you don't need to do that. So like now all you need to do is sit in a building, fly a drone around, and you're like, oh, we need to do this. I would say the only difference in IGLs is if you're a confident IGL or like if you hesitate. Because a lot of crypto IGLs could hesitate where they have too much information. It kind of like overloads their brain. But I mean, if you're a decent IGL and you have the perfect information, you're just going to make the right play when you need it to. So it definitely just lowers the skill ceiling, in my opinion. And I think the RNG is always going to be there. I don't think it's that big of a difference.
Okay. How do you think it compares to like peak Seer meta when like you had full wall hacks and everything like that? Because I know that was a time where people said it lowered the skill ceiling so much because of the information. Do you think it compares like very similar, or like is it information in a different way?
It's information in a different way, but definitely still lowers the skill ceiling. I think the biggest problem right now is like I don't think crypto is that good as a character itself. It's just the UAVs. Like having 100% spawn rate UAVs is going from POI to POI to POI to like you're just perma scanning them over and over and over, and you just know everything that's going on the map. Like there's no, if you don't know what's going on the map, you're doing something very wrong. Like all the information is there for you to take it together.
Yeah, the macro ability of it, the throwing the drone out and seeing what teams are around you is just so much that you have access to.
Yeah, and you brought up the gold bins too, which I think is also a major issue because I feel like Newcastle inherently is fun to watch from a viewer perspective. At crypto is definitely not. I don't think it was fun to play. I don't think it was fun to watch. It was just completely just crypto was out. Newcastle is at least fun to watch, but when you do have the gold bin reset and they're getting a gold knock every single end game, that's where it starts to take away from the actual viewing experience because you're basically just rewarding somebody going down by just giving them half shield, half health, which I don't think is really like a good balance. I would like to see Newcastle in there, but not as many gold knockdowns and not as much accessibility to them because it was just so easy for Newcastle teams to get it.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, just remove all gold items in general. Like they don't need to be in comp at all. They don't belong there. It's just unnecessary RNG that does not.
Man, them hammer point Mozams, am I right?
Yeah, those, I don't know. Mozams, very boring. Gold knocks everywhere, very boring. Crypto scanning UAVs everywhere, extremely boring. I don't know. It's not fun at all.
Yeah, Enoch talked about it last week, I think, where like talking about like the 6 gold bins will spawn at once. I was voting more SSG today, and like Koifel had 6 gold bins spawn on him, like at one point. What is that?
Yeah, it's just like everybody is full max kit after you open those up.
It's just
if you had a Havoc, you got a Turbo. You got Mozams, you got a gold bolt and hammers.
You're getting it all. You're just getting it all. Yeah, I feel like I think what they did was they overcorrected knowing how bad the loot was on E-District. So they're like, we'll do a loot reset, but they didn't understand how that was going to affect the other maps. And it affected them, especially in competitive, very heavily. I wanted to go from one of the worst metas. I think it's the worst meta, in my opinion. Just watching it was so boring. To what your favorite meta was. The one that you look back on fondly. You're like, I wish we could go back to this.
The best meta Apex ever had is the one right after where Wraith wasn't path. Like Wraith wasn't path, in my opinion, was a terrible meta. But the one that came after, where you had 3 different comps, it was Wraith wasn't path, Wraith wasn't GB without ring console, and then you had Wraith GB Pathfinder. So you had 3 different comps where you had 1 hard edge, you had 1 medium edge, and then you had 1 hard zone. Like that is the perfect meta, and just having when you split up what people play, like you have a third of teams playing edge, a third of teams flexing, and then a third of teams playing hard zone. I think that's the healthiest game you can get because then not everybody's playing the same thing, not everybody's doing the same thing, and you can actually look for like opportunities and make plays overall. So,
I also think the interesting there that you didn't mention any of the comps of like Wraith, Gibby, Bloodhound. Like it's right before wall hacks started to really make a mainstay in the game. That we've now had
any
for
wall
4 years.
Any wall hack meta is a terrible meta.
Yeah,
wall hacks is literally just made for noobs. That is literally it. it lowers the skill sitting in every way.
Yeah, no, undoubtedly. It's like we've only had 2 eras, which was that early era, and then the caustic Gibby Valk, which Valk I guess kind of had it when you were flying, but regardless, like it wasn't wall hacks. The only 2 times we had it, but it's just too strong. Like that information's invaluable when you're playing, right?
I mean, this just lowers the skill ceiling of game sense. Like, you can't make plays because everybody knows everything what you're doing. So it's all about like basically the Horizon Zero meta was just outgunning people because you knew everything anyway. Like, if you just hit more shots, you would win the fight, and that was just like a difference between 2 or 3 bullets would change a fight, and then you would never clean wipe because unless you had like the ability advantage, right? Like if you had the zero ulti and they didn't have zero ulti, you clean wipe. If both teams have zero ulti and you're still fighting, everybody sees everything. It's either gonna be a stalemate or it's just even trades. It's like the mechanical skill ceiling at the highest level is very close. Like there's not that big of a difference. So when you have perfect knowledge for everybody, like the fights are gonna be even. There's no there's no playmaking. It's just, does this team have abilities? No, they're free KP. Do they have abilities? Okay, we need to either wait them out or we need to trade, I guess.
Yeah, that was a lot of things with the fights at this LAN where it just like everyone was just kind of waiting for crypto EMP. Especially even like I'm sure a team like you guys, like you just wait for crypto EMP, and if you're sending Unlucky and Effect in, or someone like SG sending Zainu and Koi in, or like just a team like TSM sending Verhulst and Zap in, like these are 2 duos that can just immediately wipe a team with those Mozams once you EMP them, right? So yeah, it just really does kind of like lower like even the the engagement in fights.
I also
100%.
appreciated what you guys did with I think any meta is good with when there's a Pathfinder involved. Like anytime there's a Pathfinder, I think it's always going to be, first of all, more fun to watch. But I think for the players, it shows like a distinct gap in people using it the correct way versus not. And I look back to those metas back in the day with Wraith, and people used to complain about Wraith so much. And now I look back on it, I'm like, why was anybody complaining about Wraith? It was all about the skill of the person using it. Like, and I feel like that's kind of what we've lost with some of these recent metas. You speak about Seer, you speak about crypto. It's like we're losing that a little bit. And I guess that would be fine in like a casual sense, you know, like I'm a casual player. That'd be fine in like casual lobbies. But as far as ALGS goes, I want to watch something where the best of the best are using abilities and characters absolutely like just completely better and more insane than everybody else. And I feel like with this meta, we really lost that. Because I mean, the final game of SSG, I watched back, the first 15 minutes of it, they're just sitting looking outside a window. It's like, who wants to watch that? You know, and definitely who wants to play that? So I hope we go back to more Pathfinder, more Wraith, stuff like that. And I'm sure you'd probably be in the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the previous meta, like the Pathfinder, Bangalore Fuse, was a really good meta if we just didn't have the evac exploit. Like if the evac exploit was not a thing, that meta would have been really, really good as well. But then it just turned into an obnoxious exploit. So there's definitely like some metas that could be fun to watch, and I feel like that one could be a top 3 for me.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to, now that we've gone through some of the tournaments and stuff like that and the accomplishments, I wanted to go back and revisit the days that you were talking about before, where you have 3 jobs and, you know, you're just trying to find time to play and do scrims. Enoch asked a question earlier where it's like, what does the typical day for Hakis look like right now? What was the typical day back then when you had the jobs, but you had this passion, you had this desire to play Apex and do it at a high level, but you still had all these other things you had to worry about? What was a typical day like back then for maybe some of the younger listeners or listeners who are trying to get into the scene who are having to work and having to go to school and do all these things? Like, how did you manage it?
Just overall time management. Like back then, like I said, I worked like 3 jobs and studied at the same time. So I would just adapt to whatever I was doing. Like if I had school from like 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., then I would have to adjust, because usually I would study from like 8 a.m. to like 2 p.m. and then I would go work for like 6 hours, and then I would come home and I would play for like 4 hours. So I would just like, and then another day I would like not study at all, and I would just only work both jobs, which would be like 8 hours, and then I would just go home and sleep. And so it's like, then I don't get to play anything at all. So it's all about, back then it was just adapting for me, just trying to manage my time the best possible, because nothing was consistent. Like I could basically work whenever I wanted to, and I could basically study whenever I wanted to, unless I had classes. So I would just flip it around on whenever I could play. So it was a lot of it was a very inconsistent schedule, that's for sure.
But you just kind of managed and you just found a way. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean that's the number one. Like I think that's the number one skill people need to learn is just managing time. Like just putting out a schedule for like each day of what you want to do and when you want to do stuff, so that you actually get it done.
And when you were in game, I'm sure that there is a way that you have to play, and you can even transfer this to now when you're playing and when you have the free time. How much, like, let's say you have a 4-hour block. This is all you have. How much time are you spending VOD reviewing? How much time are you spending playing and kind of like adjusting your play style or getting ready for whatever tournament you have to go to?
I mean, it kind of depends a little bit. Back in the day, I would like not do that many VOD reviews because I'm just playing ranked. But I'll still like watch over, like if I did something good, if I did something bad, I would still study it a little bit. But I mean, nowadays for like prepping for big tournaments and LANs, I'm probably VOD reviewing at least 4 hours a day. It's a lot of studying in general, but I would say about 25 to 30% of my time goes into VOD reviewing, and then 70% is like playing.
And are those your own VODs, or are you also going through the VODs of like the teams that you interact with on a regular basis?
Everyone, literally everyone. I'm just looking over like how people play certain scenarios, how they die, like learning from people's mistakes so that I don't make the big mistake. If they do something good, I learn from that too. Like you can literally learn from everything. Like if some, like that's the biggest thing that people don't get is learning from mistakes. Like they think mistakes are just, oh, I fucked up, I don't never want to do that again, but they never like actually understand why they made this mistake, and they don't learn from it.
So I'm thinking of competing in BLGS. I'm gonna hide my VODs because I don't want you trying to steal my strats or anything like that. You know, like don't think that like I gotta stay fresh. We're gonna take this $100,000 here in one of these tournaments.
But when this is another thing that I always wonder about for that pros do, and it's when you are playing. What's the best way to hone in on your skills for specifically for ranked, not just playing Apex, not ranked, competitive? What's the best way to do it? Because I've heard that ranked isn't the best way, and then I've heard some people say ranked is actually a really good way to do it. Like, what would you suggest to somebody trying to get in? What would be the best avenues to play the game to get better competitively?
I mean, I would say, first of all, before you get into the ranked, you need to work on your mechanics. And I feel ranked is a terrible place to work on your mechanics because when you're at the top level, like, you barely get to fight. Like, if you're in the pred lobbies, like, unless you're a pro team, you don't really want to run and, like, drop 20 bombs, right? Like, you struggle in your fights. So I would recommend, like, R5 or even pubs or TDMs or whatever, just to, like, get your mechanics up. And then once you have your mechanics up to the level you would get, then you go into ranked to learn game sense, because that's where ranked is good for. It's like learning fighting game sense and just overall game sense in general, like how to approach fights and how to position yourself and yada, yada, yada. And then you just need to get into comp as well if you want to actually become a pro player, because learning macro, learning how to position yourself when there's 20 teams alive is also very important. So it's like these steps you gotta work, right? You gotta go up the ladder and just take it one at a time. It's like you gotta learn mechanics, game sense, comp stuff, like macro positioning, and then just gotta put in the hours.
Yeah, it's a lot about that time, huh? Like that's like the number one thing we hear, which makes obvious sense. But that's pretty interesting. Like you said, like pubs mechanics first. I've never really actually heard that. I've heard people say like grind ranked, get to the top of ranked, and like you'll probably get picked up from there. But obviously, like to even do that, you got to start. Even
I mean, if you just start ranked and then you're like, it's just super inefficient, because ranked at the top level, especially if you're running into cheaters, like what mechanics are you gonna learn from fighting a cheater? Like you learn nothing. Like that's just at that point you're learning game sense on how do I survive against an aimbotter. Like
I've been learning.
I was gonna say Enoch's
I've been studying it up.
Enoch's got that. He knows how to survive against them.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like where's the efficient practice in your mechanics when you're running into the guy aimbotting you? Like, I don't know. I would just say it's more like learning game sense, learning how to play as a team, maybe.
That's beautiful. That's perfect.
Sweet.
I love to see it. E, do you want to hit him with it?
No, wait.
Got one more?
We have the other question
wait,
first.
no, we
Okay.
have the biggest question.
Okay,
of all
Okay,
time.
as someone who is an experienced LAN participant multiple times, I'm sure you've played from the bottom row. I'm sure you've played from the top row. And we got to know.
Which one?
Top bunk, bottom bunk. Which is your favorite and why?
Completely depends. I would say back in the day, it was definitely bottom because the top would shake, and that was really bad.
We've heard that.
Nowadays, it's pretty good. Like both of them are even. Like the top row doesn't shake anymore, so it's fine. It just depends on like how the AC works, to be honest. Because I want to be in a cool area. I don't want to sweat my balls off.
Yeah.
Because like this, like Mannheim now, for example, like the left stage was like super cold and really nice. The right part was a sauna. Like it was cooking. So
We might have
like
to change our
for the
question.
previous LAN, definitely the left side of the stage. I didn't really care if it was top or bottom, but not the right side at least. So for me, it's just it's either or, just depending
Whichever
on
has AC.
Whichever
pretty
has
much.
AC.
And do you get any what does that process look like? Do they just say, "Hey, it's this round, you guys are at this spot," or do you guys have any amount of like preference of I'd like to be over here, I'd like to be over there?
So for group stages, it's just random. However, for winners bracket or losers bracket and finals, they do it off of seeding. So whatever you placed going into it, they allow you to choose first. So if I have like first seeding going into finals, I get to pick my spot first.
Oh, so then
That's fire.
what did you pick? What did you pick on this last one?
We picked so we had like 11th pick or something. So the entire bottom left side was taken, so we went top left.
Top
Okay.
left.
There we go. I like
There we
that.
go.
Left.
I
Yeah,
like that.
EWC, you must have loved it then. That place was so fucking cold inside. I left. I could not stay there anymore, bro. Like it was freezing. Well, I guess you're loving it. And you guys came first. I remember being in the elevator with Pontus. He's like, "We're picking our seats right now." And then after he also said he got to pick seats in the stands because they kept kicking anyone with a badge out, and then they still kicked him out even though he was able to pick seats in the stands. So, but that was funny. But yeah, so I saw you guys got to pick your seats there, and you must have loved the cool air in there. I didn't.
Yeah, no, EWC was great. I had no complaints.
Yeah.
Outside of like, which is I'm complaining about both ALGS and EWC is the monitor stands. They're horrible for MK players.
Oh, they're bad.
It is literally just a controller buff. Like the stands go straight into the middle of my mouse pad. Like I have to adjust them and put them on the side and do like a special solution every time where I'm like still hitting it with my keyboard.
Yeah, and then wasn't the EWC desks I noticed where they were like separated individually and kind of they're suspended. Did those like shake at all? Well, the way I saw them, I kind of thought I'm like those can't be stable for an M&K player. I don't know. Did you experience that or no?
The desks was fine. They were
Okay,
even
it
like
was fine.
they were mechanical desks, but they didn't have any electricity, so like you couldn't raise them or anything anyway. So I was like, that's kind of sad that we didn't get to do that. But
From the view I saw, I thought they weren't good, but that's cool to see. That's cool to see.
All right. Boys, are you guys
We're ready for
questioned
it.
out?
We're ready
All right,
for it.
Hakis. The question that I ask everybody who comes on the show, because everybody who comes on the show is performing in the top 1% of the field that they're operating in, and you certainly you exceptionally fit the bill for that. And so the question is, what is one thing that you've learned that's helped you get to this point in your career that somebody could take regardless of the field that they're pursuing and apply it in their life to help them get into the top 1%, regardless of what it is that they're trying to get that in?
I think I already mentioned it before, but managing your time is literally one of the most important skills you can ever learn in anything. It's just like being efficient and not dragging things out is probably the most number one thing where you just learn so much faster.
There we
I
go.
love it.
Short
I
and
love
simple.
it. Easy. Yeah, we had to toss these up. Greatest
Oh, you
jersey.
had yours too?
Greatest jersey of all time. It's the greatest
wait,
jersey of
wait.
all time.
Number
And
13.
Hey, it's got the
Right
13 on the
there.
back. Now we do have to give you a caveat on this. Sometimes we can be looked at as jinxes on this show. Jumbo went to EWC. He thought about packing his Alliance jersey, didn't pack it. You guys won. So
And guess the two I packed. SSG and DSG. Those teams don't have Apex teams anymore.
They're just gone.
Good thing I didn't bring them.
Just gone.
Good thing I didn't bring them.
Yeah, top 5. I think it got to be top 5 jersey of all time. But we had to bust it out for the Hakis interview. Thank you so much for hopping on, man. We really do appreciate it. It was awesome to finally get you on. And man, you guys are looking good. You guys are looking great. Hopefully next time you hop back on the show, we add another trophy to that trophy case.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gents, that was Hakis. Shout out to Hakis for hopping on the pod. I think we've said his name 3 different ways on the show. We've just said every different pronunciation. The thing is, we asked for it too, and we got it. And I think over time, we just went back to our old ways of whatever we were saying it like before. So apologies to, I think he said Hakis. I think he said Hakis. Shout out to Hakis for hopping on the show. It was awesome. It was a great time. And hopefully we get him back on soon. Alliance, they are doing real good right now. Ladies and gents, let's throw it on down to the heart-to-heart. It is heart-to-heart time. Jumba.
Take it away. Take it away. You know what? I told Enoch today, I was in his stream. I told him I had my heart-to-heart. And my heart-to-heart is thanking you boys for your dedication. We had to do this Hakis interview today. Because he's EU, the time difference, it's tough. Wyatt luckily is off this week, but it's like 4 p.m. for him right now. He's midday, taking time away from his family to be here. And Enoch had to stop his rank stream, which might sound like to some people like, he just stopped a rank stream. It's a serious rank
3
stream.
dubs. I was absolutely on a heater. The RP was flowing, and I was here.
I don't want to make it sound like that's me being like, oh, he stopped. No, I want to say that's a serious thing to him. He's constantly grinding for rank 1. Like he just said, 3 dubs back to back. He's rank 8 right now. Up RP 2. And after we heard about last week's experience, well, he's dedicated that he showed up today. And that's the heart to heart. It's dedication.
Dedication, baby. We're all dedicated. Before I go into my heart to heart, you were playing Horizon. Mm-hmm. I feel like I haven't seen Horizon in a while.
Yeah.
Is Horizon just good, low key good?
Well, so the thought behind the Horizon pick is I have recently become a wingman one trick again, and I just use it every single game, even though it only has 6 shots. And because it's as same as it was before they made it, so that when it was everybody was complaining about it, and so it's still that same gun. You just only have 6 shots, or you get 8 if you get it boosted. And Horizon, you have 100% accuracy with the wingman and the Horizon Q. And so I just decided to give it a go and just mess around with it. And my Horizon games are pretty good. I was looking kind of clean. So you give me a couple more weeks of playing Horizon, because I've really never had a Horizon season where I have played Horizon a lot. I just don't have that many kills, not that much time. But it's pretty fun. And is she going to make a comeback in comp? Probably not. Does that mean that she's not going to be still cheesy and have her moments where she's just super OP and strong and ranked? Yeah. And so I'm going to have fun. I've been playing Maggie the rest of I believe I had 58% of my games the season have been played on Maggie. And now we're going to get the Horizon numbers up a little bit.
Okay. Just wanted to check. I just wanted to see what was going on. Okay. I'm going to go with mine then. I'm going to take the gratitude. I'm taking gratitude this week, boys. I'm going to take gratitude. And the reason... What were you going to say?
I was going to say, finish your gratitude ones.
I was just going to say the reason I'm grateful is because I have complained a lot on this show about, my place of employment. And it's not really the place of employment. It's just there's certain aspects about it that I don't like. But overall, it has been good to me. And this is another reason why is I have the ability to take off time for baby bonding stuff, which I'm very grateful for. And they've been very helpful with that. And so to be able to do it, I have had my complaints. It's definitely not where I want to be for the rest of my life, because it just, I don't know how to describe it. It's sometimes you just don't mesh with the job. I work in an environment that I feel a little out of touch with. That's really all it is. I do the job well. I do it fine. I'm just not the biggest. I feel like some people have a mechanical brain, which I do not have. So when I get questions about things, it just doesn't make sense. So it makes it a little bit tough. But overall, I feel like I've been very blessed and grateful to have what I have. And, I'm going to be back there next Monday. And, we're going to hit the grindstone just like we have been for forever. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just happy and grateful that I at least have a place that will employ me through this time. And, obviously things aren't super great in the States right now, but we bounce back and we figure it out. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy about that. I did want to add a caveat onto this, which is that we finished all the Easter eggs.
There
from
we
Black
go.
Ops
That's
3.
what I thought you were going to say.
I had to add that in there. We finished all the Easter eggs. It was a process. There was some moments. I wouldn't say they were like Black Ops 1 through Black Ops 2 moments where we were legitimately arguing with each other about like the inherent moments of some of those plays. But we did have we had Jumba he got stuck on a step for so long.
An hour and 20 minutes.
He was stuck on it for an hour and 20 minutes, and the annoyance in his face and in his comms was so funny. I almost blew it one time too for him, and he's just like getting ready to yell at me. That was funny. Other than that, it was pretty good, pretty easy going, and now we move on into Black Ops 4 and Cold War before Black Ops 6 comes out. So I don't know if we're going to be as dedicated with all four of us. I still want to do Black Ops 4. They look hard as fuck. I'm not going to lie. I already looked at the first one. The video to do it was like 32 minutes long. And that's just the video. Doing it is going to take even longer. So
I want to do Cold War more, but
I do want to do Cold War more.
Because I'm going to be
I'm
going to be so busy, but I want to do Cold War more. I'm just mad that they had all the Call of Duties on sale at one point, and I bought Black Ops 4 and the season pass and all that stuff. And I'm probably really not going to get to play it, but Cold War, I didn't.
I did the same thing. I got Black Ops 4 instead of Cold War, and I could have got Cold War. But yeah, so I'm feeling good. If you guys want to check out some of our endeavors, you can check out Pack-a-Pod. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. We argue with each other there as well. We also this week, we're releasing our map rankings from World at War to BO3.
And everyone, if you hear Wyatt's, you're going to think it's atrocious.
It's not even that bad. Jay is just mad that I don't like Origins, even though it has mud. Okay, it's the mud. I don't want the mud. Get the mud out of my face. Get the mud out of here. No, it was a good ranking show. It was awesome. So yeah, that rounds out my heart to heart. Yours.
Yeah, mine's gonna be just keep it pushing. You have a bad day. Fuck it. Who cares? You just keep it pushing. You get a little frustrated. You get a little tilted. Hey, it happens. Not going to be perfect 100% of the time. Keep it pushing. On to the next one. You take the next rep. And if that rep goes bad, hey, guess what you're going to do? You're going to keep it pushing. And you're going to enjoy it. And
Big
you're just
bounce back after last week.
Joy into every situation you can.
Big bounce back after last week. Big bounce back.
You just got to keep it pushing.
Slingshot. We're slingshotting.
Keep it pushing. Of course.
Yeah. I also forgot to add in with my heart to heart because, like tradition with the show, whenever it's football season, I update in the heart to heart. My team sucks. The quarterback we drafted sucks. Season's over. We'll get him next year.
Is that Bo Picks?
Bo Picks, yeah. He was terrible. He was bad. But you know what? That's old me talking. New me just stepped in the way right now and said, hold on. He's a rookie. He could progress. There's time. That's new me just stepped in right now. That was crazy. I can't believe that. That was nuts.
That's wild.
New me just stepped in. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, that was the Heart to Heart, and that was the Apex the podcast. Shout out to Hakis for hopping on the show. It was a great time with him, and hopefully we'll see him soon. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview, and hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the show. Like we said, we'll be covering all the BLGS stuff as well as some of the Rostermania in the upcoming weeks, and we're just waiting for Japan, baby. We are waiting for Japan. Thank you guys as always. We'll catch you guys next week. See ya.